Star Trek Deep Space, 9 Then and Now, 2026. The station is silent now, a ghost of the Great Link, but the ledgers of Paramount never sleep. We remember them as gods among the stars, commandants of the final frontier who traded their souls for a piece of the galaxy and a paycheck that defined an era. But as the chronometer strikes 2026, does the gold of the 23rd century still glitter, or has the harsh vacuum of time evaporated their fortunes? Who survived the jump to warp speed, and who was left drifting in the cold? Number 1. Avery Brooks, $10 million to $12 million. Then, at 45 years old, a scholar of the arts and a veteran of the stage, Avery Brooks stepped onto the promenade not just as a commander, but as a cultural icon, the first black lead in a Star Trek series. His authority was absolute, reflected in a commanding salary that scaled from $50,000 to a staggering $150,000 per episode. He wasn't just acting, he was directing, shaping the very soul of the station, amassing a fortune that mirrored his status as the highest-billed star of the quadrant. Now, in the quiet dawn of 2026, the 77-year-old Titan has long since retreated from the blinding lights of Hollywood. Unlike the restless ghost of Benjamin Sisko, Brooks lives a life of intellectual solitude, having spent years as a professor emeritus at Rutgers University. And he is no longer chasing the next blockbuster. He is a keeper of jazz and history. While the industry wonders if he will ever return, his legacy remains untarnished by the modern thirst for reboots, reigning over a comfortable estate built on the discipline of a master. Number 2. Michael Dorn, $8 million to $9 million. At 43 years old, Michael Dorn was already a veteran of the bridge of the Enterprise when he brought the Klingon warrior Worf to Deep Space Nine. Having spent years under heavy prosthetics, his leverage was unmatched. Paramount knew he was the bridge between two eras. This translated into a golden handshake, where he commanded a high upfront salary and secured a rare piece of the character's image rights. He wasn't just a soldier of the Empire, he was a strategic businessman in a ridged mask, amassing a fortune through pure endurance. Entering 2026 at the age of 73, Dorn remains the ultimate survivor of the franchise. While many peers faded, he leveraged his iconic voice and physical presence into a continuous stream of work, most recently reviving Worf to critical acclaim in the final seasons of Star Trek, Picard. Today, he is far from the starving artist trope, sitting comfortably on a mountain of residuals and convention earnings. To the public of 2026, he is the definitive Klingon, a man who turned a makeup chair into a lifelong goldmine. Number 3. Colm Meaney, $7 million to $8 million. Then, at 39 years old, the Irish-born Colm Meaney was the blue-collar heartbeat of the Federation, transitioning from a background character on the Enterprise to a lead engineer on DS9. He arrived with the leverage of a seasoned veteran. Meaney was a rare breed. He refused to be trapped by the franchise, negotiating a contract that allowed him to film major Hollywood movies during his breaks. This duality allowed him to command a top-tier upfront salary from Season 1, making Miles O'Brien one of the most consistently well-paid Everymen in television history. Now, in the spring of 2026, the 72-year-old actor remains a prolific force in both independent cinema and prestige television. While many of his spacefaring colleagues retired into the convention circuit, Meaney's face is still everywhere, from gritty crime dramas to stage plays in Dublin and London. He lives comfortably between Spain and Ireland, his fortune built not just on Starfleet's credits, but on a relentless work ethic that never stalled. In 2026, the public views him not as a sci-fi relic, but as a prestigious character actor who mastered the art of the side hustle. Number 4. Nana Visitor, $5,500,000 to $6,500,000. Then, at 35 years old, Nana Visitor stepped into the Bajoran resistance with a fire that redefined women in science fiction. As Major Kira Nerys, she wasn't just a sidekick, she was the political and spiritual anchor of the station. Appearing in nearly every single episode of the series, her financial trajectory was a marathon of endurance. By the time the final negotiations for Season 6 concluded, her salary had climbed significantly from her modest beginnings, reflecting her status as the show's indispensable leading lady. Her wealth was built on 173 episodes of sweat, tears, and a fierce dedication to a broken world. Now, in the landscape of 2026, the 68-year-old actress remains a beloved icon of resilience. While she hasn't pursued the blockbuster life of her younger years, Visitor has cultivated a rich career in voice acting and guest appearances, recently sharing her journey through deeply personal documentaries and memoirs about her time on the station. She lives a life of quiet grace, her fortune intact and bolstered by her status as a queen of the conventions. To the public of 2026, she is the ultimate survivor, a woman who successfully navigated the transition from a soldier of Bajor to a respected elder of the arts. Number 5. René Auberjonois, $5 million. At 52 years old, René Auberjonois was already a titan of the American stage and a Tony Award winner before he ever stepped into the liquid skin of Odo. Unlike the younger, unproven talent on the station, he arrived at the negotiation table with the weight of a master. Paramount paid for his pedigree, granting him a starting salary that eclipsed many of his peers. He transformed a shapeshifter into a Shakespearean soul, ensuring that every hour spent in the makeup chair was compensated with the respect and the paycheck of a veteran who knew exactly what he was worth. In the silence of 2026, the 85-year-old maestro has been gone for nearly 7 years, having passed in late 2019. Yet, his financial and artistic legacy remains a fortress for his family. He left behind a vast catalogue of work spanning decades of film and television, ensuring his estate remains robust through a lifetime of disciplined earnings. To the fans of 2026, René is more than a memory. He is the gold standard of character acting. His fortune wasn't just in the bank, it was in the indelible mark he left on the craft of storytelling. Number 6. Armin Shimerman, $4,500,000. At 43 years old, Armin Shimerman took on the monumental task of redeeming an entire race. After the Ferengi were mocked in previous series, Shimerman brought a Shakespearean depth to the greedy bartender Quark. He was a veteran of the craft, and although he technically occupied a supporting lead role, his near-constant presence in the scripts earned him a paycheck that rivaled the main command staff. His wealth was built on the rules of acquisition in more ways than one, as he negotiated a steady, high-tier salary from Paramount that reflected his character's status as the heartbeat of the station's commerce. In the bustling cultural landscape of 2026, the 76-year-old Shimerman is far from retired. He has spent the last decades as a renowned acting teacher and a successful novelist, proving that his intellect far outstrips the character he once played. He remains a fixture of the convention circuit, his estate bolstered by years of wise investments, and a voice that is still in high demand for animation and gaming. To the audience of 2026, he is the elder statesman of the franchise, a man who turned a profit on a prosthetic face and transformed it into a legacy of artistic mentorship and financial stability. Number 7. Terry Farrell, $3,500,000 to $4 million. At just 29 years old, the former fashion model, Terry Farrell, stepped into the ancient soul of Jadzia Dax, becoming the face of the series' most complex, scientific and spiritual mysteries. While she was the visual centerpiece of the station, her youth and lack of a theatrical pedigree meant she began at a lower tier than her veteran male co-stars. Her climb to a multi-million-dollar total was a battle of endurance, one that famously hit a wall in Season 6. When she requested a reduced schedule to preserve her mental health, the studio's refusal led to a shocking exit, leaving her fortune capped while her peers continued to collect the final season's peak salaries. In the spring of 2026, the 62-year-old Farrell lives a life far removed from the cold bureaucracy of Paramount's old front office. After years of semi-retirement and focusing on her family, she has re-emerged as a powerful voice for actors' rights and mental health awareness within the industry. While she may not sit on the same mountain of credits as Brooks or Meaney, her wealth is stable, and her connection to the fans has never been stronger. To the public of 2026, she isn't the woman who walked away. She is the woman who knew her value, standing as a symbol of grace and autonomy in a galaxy that once tried to own her. The station lights may have dimmed, but the echoes of their voices remain etched into the very fabric of our culture. Whether they retired into the quiet dignity of academia or continue to command the stage in 2026, these icons proved that true legacy is measured in more than just gold-pressed latinum. They gave us a vision of the future that still guides us today. If you want more deep dives into the secret histories of your favorite stars, subscribe now and join our mission into the unknown.